Wondering how you can become better at running your business? Entrepreneurship can be stressful. There's too much to do and not enough time. If you're isolated in your daily decisions, have no fear. Success and balance are possible. Welcome to the Small Business Answer Man podcast, where you master the art of running a successful business using practical advice from experts who want to help you succeed. Now, here's your host, Gary Wilbers.
Welcome. We're glad to have you back again this week to the Small Business Answer Man podcast, where we help entrepreneurs and business owners find solutions so that they don't become overwhelmed and stressed out. We're in that second quarter of the year, so are you ready to hear more about those 6 areas of the 6P business owner formula? And that's my formula, and those 6 areas are people, productivity, pricing, promotion, process, and profits. And today, I think we found a guest that's going to talk a lot about that promotion side. So I'm excited to hear what he has to say. But Salim, will you share with them what problem will you help our listeners solve today?
Absolutely. My forte is lead generation and customer acquisition. Those are the 2 areas we've been spending the last 17 years perfecting. And I can't wait to break that down for your audience.
Well, that is going to be some great conversation because that's become so important for small business owners. And a lot of people may have tried to start something early this year, but maybe it's not working. So I know Salim Timothy is going to give us some real good examples that we can use in our business because he's an accomplished entrepreneur himself with over 17 years of experience in marketing and sales. He's the co-founder and CEO of One IMS, a leading inbound marketing and sales agency, as well as ClickX. He has helped businesses double their revenue by using this 10X framework. Salim is also an expert in lead generation and customer acquisition, as we talked about. He's as well been in the USA Today and the Wall Street Journal and is a best-selling author. Salim, it is great to have you on the podcast. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Gary. I really am honored to be here. This is awesome. And I love small business owners, so this is like double awesome.
That's right. And you're talking to those business owners. My business owners, they're challenged in all that challenge that they have because they're not doing just sales. They're not just doing the marketing. They're doing all those different areas that they have. So they all have some of those common challenges. I think the best place for us to start is really thinking about that promotion side. What's some suggestions that you would tell them that they need to think about in their business? Because we're still early enough in 2024 that we can make changes to what the results are going to be by the end of 2024.
That is absolutely right. Customers come to us in December and they want to turn around their business. So I get called sometimes at the last minute, at the 11th hour. And the good thing is, what we're going to be talking about today is something that you can turn around your business in, even if you feel like, oh man, I lost quarter of the year or half of the year or whatever it is. So I'm going to give you a framework that I think is going to be absolutely probably the best piece of advice any marketing person's ever given. The reason I say that is I'm a very practical person. In other words, I don't talk just in theory. I have to deliver for my customers if I want to keep them as my customers, right? So this is what I would do if I were in the shoes of a small business owner that is struggling to figure out the P, that's the promotion P, in your 6P formula, right? Yes. So what we call this is called growth formula, the growth formula. And the reason I call that the growth formula is that every business, if you're not growing, you're dying. So how can we make sure that we're making more money, right, year over year, month over month, quarter over quarter, than we did last year? And that's a game. Like, you're constantly thinking about growth and doubling down on what works, what doesn't work. So the growth formula breaks down to 2 letters, A plus R. That means acquisition plus retention equals growth. What that means is I got to acquire customers every single day, every single month, depending. I mean, you could be an architect, you only get 1 deal a month or whatever, or you can be a doctor or whatnot, you get 10 a day. You got to acquire them. The retention part is that they need to keep coming back to you, or they need to keep paying you more, or they need to continue paying whatever you pay every month, like a Netflix subscription, right? Like, you got to keep them so that they don't cancel the subscription, or You got to make sure that the doctor is getting seen every quarter or 6 months, whatever. This formula, when applied to any businesses, it does wonders. And now I'm going to talk about the growth part, which is like, hey, how do I get more money or more customers today? I don't have anybody to retain, or I'm okay in that department, or we're going to come back to that. But what do I do today, this week, this month to close more deals? On the acquisition side, there's only two possible things that you can do. People say, well, I work with like business brokers. I work with certain industries where 100% of their business is relied on referrals. Like that's the formula to them. That is the most unpredictable formula in the planet. My growth is predicated on somebody else telling somebody else about me. That I can't control who they tell, how many people they'll tell, or what they'll tell. But I have to make more money hoping that somebody will tell somebody else something I don't even know what the conversation is about working with me. Now, it happens every day, and it's the best form of marketing, but it's the most unpredictable form of marketing, right? Would you agree, Gary?
Oh, I agree totally. It's great to get them, but it creates a challenge.
It creates a challenge. So for those people that you think that is a great formula, fantastic. But if you want something that is actually going to be predictable, like you could go to the bank with it, there's two things you could work on today. And that is capture demand or create demand. This is it. This is the entire PhD, the thesis paper, master's program in 2-3, words. The capturing demand part is literally giving the people what they want. So let's just assume, what was an example business that you want to talk about, Gary? Give me an example business, a niche of whatever business it is.
Oh, let's just think about service-based businesses. If you want to do a specific one, I'll let you pick one, but maybe something that's a service-based type business.
Absolutely. So let's just say that your home services. I love home services because there's something in my house, we're going to need you today, right? Like there's something that I'm sure you can help with. So when you're in home services, there's people right now that are looking for you. In other words, the demand already exists for your products or services, or you know that because you worked at a company before you started your own, or you know that there's 100,000 competitors doing the exact same thing they do, and they all have trucks, and they all have drivers, and they all have jobs. Like there's not a day where there's no construction down here in Florida. So it's not like the demand isn't there. The question is, are they going to me? So what I would do for them is I would just get my big old sign, digital marketing sign, and go where people are looking for me. All I have to do is hold up my sign that says, hey, looking to fix that thing in your house, right? Whatever that is, whether it's painting, flooring, siding, pressure washing, like anything. I'm just giving you all kinds of examples. So the person who does that says, well, that's not relevant to me. No, it is absolutely relevant to you. If they have a pain in their life, they're going to Google and they're searching for a fix to their pain. If you have toothache, you're looking for a dentist right now on your phone. And if the dentist that shows up happens to be a mile away or whatever it is, they got themselves a client. If they didn't show up, they didn't get themselves a client. The question is, go do that search right now. Like literally pause this podcast, go do that. See whose name pops up for your services. Put your service near me. And if your business shows up, pat yourself on the back. Like you deserve some kudos because you've done right. Chances are you don't show up anywhere in the first 100 search results. And that's the piece that you would have to work on. This piece is the easiest part of the whole equation. Why? Because all you have to do is just get in front of people that are looking for you and put your name in front of it. This is what they try to do with like yard signs, or do you see what I'm saying? Like hoping that somebody walks by or drives by, needs this thing that I have. Well, would I want to put it on the yard and hoping somebody comes? Or would I want to put it when they're Googling for the thing that I do? I would hope that Google would give me more qualified people, right? At least they're relevant. They're looking for what I do. This is the 99.9% of the thing that you have to do right now before you do all this other stuff that I'm about to share with you. Any questions there, Gary?
No, I think I really like that of capturing the demand, of knowing the marketplace. But where do you stand? Really, what you're saying is, where do you stand in the marketplace when you go do that research? So Google yourself, just like he said, and
Exactly.
put near me. And do you come up? If you're not in those top three, right? Really,
Correct.
if you're not on that first page, you're not seen.
Ads is there, local is there, regular old website pages are there. There's a lot of opportunity to make money there. You need to be there in all of them. That's all possible. Now, capturing demand is the easiest part because it's the most predictable way to do it. The second thing is where marketing people spend all of their lives doing, which is creating demand, manufacturing demand. This is, if I am a backyard, custom kitchen designer, it only works in my lanai, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is a $50,000 kitchen or a $150,000 kitchen, but it's your outdoor kitchen guy. Yes, of course, like I can run the ads and whatnot, but what about all the people that don't have this thing? That when they see and hear about the convenience and the, getting your friends over and like all the party and all the things that you could do, host a guest and to throw this thing and let's throw a party in the backyard, but we're going to cook and grill and everything because our outdoor kitchen is completely decked out with the fridge and all that. That's educating the audience about what you do, creating video content, creating blog posts, creating short form videos, creating social media content. This is where a lot of people think marketing money goes, and it takes so long to get a return and all of this hard work for minimal return, because like I said, they're kind of like a drop in a bucket. And if you go write one blog post and there's like a bazillion blog posts already, it's a drop in the bucket. Your blog post has no chance of ranking if all you did is create a blog post of how to, maximize your backyard or how to host a party or whatever it is, but that is not going to do anything. It's the frequency and the amount of effort and energy you put into promoting that content is what 99% of people think is marketing. But I would only go there once I've taken my shot at getting the people who are searching for designed, custom design, outdoor kitchen or outdoor kitchen contractor, outdoor kitchen, whatever, right? Pricing. Once I've captured that, I'll have so much money now I can work on the creating demand. Creating demand is the predictability of what your future business is going to be. That's how you future-proof your business for any economic conditions. Because you've built such a warm audience that remember you when they think about what you do. When you think about ketchup, what do you think about, Gary? What brand comes to mind when you think about ketchup?
Heinz.
There you go. What about steak sauce?
A1.
Hey, I didn't say any of this. You see, we have small businesses that are listening and they see the same thing we just heard. When we hear photocopying, we say what, Xerox or, some photo film like Kodak, like all these things ingrained into our world. Searching is synonymous with Google. But how come the outdoor kitchen is not synonymous with the brand that we own? How come?
We don't know any. We've not had.
That's right. Like, well, I'm a small business. Well, your people in the town that you can serve should definitely know you're it.
Right.
Right? Like in your town, wherever you can serve, wherever you're licensed contractor, whatever else, they need to know you exist. This is that second part. It is that creating the demand or creating awareness so they know. And once you do that, this is how people says, well, I can't go there. I have this giant competition there. There's no way we're going to win with that one. You've said that about other people. Why? Because they beat you to the game of promotion and you're still working on it. And you're almost scared to go into this territory because you feel like there's this Godzilla there. You know what I mean? That is going to eat you out. Well, guess what? That's why you got to follow Gary's 6-speed formula. That's the promotion part. Once you figure that out, there's nobody going to beat you.
Yeah. I love the concept. And I tell you, we're going to dig more into the acquisition and retention to be able to really that growth formula that Solomon is talking about when we get right back from this commercial break. And now back to the show with some great information. And I love the concept about the acquisition, a capturing demand. We've talked about that. Make sure you're in your marketplace, but then creating this demand. So now let's take it to the point, and you've given several good examples, but let's take it as, how do I do that? Because that's what the business owner is saying. How do I do this now to make this work for me, Solomon?
100%. So first of all, I'm a big believer in that if it's not your business, like in other words, if it's not what you do day in and day out, don't do it yourself. In fact, as a business owner, I have a hard time delegating, right? Like we like to do everything. We are hands-on people. And quite sadly, one of my coaches have taught me that if you want to get it done right, don't do it yourself. It's the exact same thing I would tell any other growth-oriented, ambitious business owners, because chances are we're taking on too much for ourselves to get it done. So you may want to leverage a teammate, a contractor, even an intern in your small town or a big town you're in, college student, to start delegating the day-to-day activities of what we're going to talk about. Number one, you want to leverage everything that is absolutely free. That is anything to do with social media at this moment. To my knowledge, you don't have to pay for LinkedIn. You don't have to pay for Facebook. You don't have to pay for posting on Instagram. You don't have to pay to create a blog post. You can get Canva for free. Like everything that I'm talking about have to be leveraged. That's free. Take out your phone, iPhone, whatever you have, and start taking photos of your work as you're doing it. Start creating content. And the reason I say that is if you can't create content, get that intern to film you as you're creating the thing that you do, or going to an estimate, or talking about the job that you're going to be doing. The reason I say that to you is this is, again, creating demand. As I watch you do things, I'll have questions I'll ask on social media. You answer my question, you create noise, basically, in the marketplace, and you start to become that thought leader, because when they think about your brand, when they think about the problem they have, they're going to think about your brand. So this applies to anything that's social media. The second thing that you're going to do is you're going to start creating educational content, answering the questions that people have generally about your product or services. This is where you Google your service that you provide. On Google, we have a lot of tools that we use here to get me this information and more. But on Google, if you paid $0, there's a section called People Also Ask. I don't think any business owner ever paid attention to it. But those questions are a gold mine of what your audience is looking for. And it's even further down in your area what they're looking for. Believe it or not, those questions are so tight to where you live, because if you live in Nebraska, I promise you they're going to get different answers or questions. You want to make sure that content is created and distributed in all of these platforms. And that is your first step. And once you do the crappy version of it, the low budget version of it, you're going to get some early success. Reinvest that money into investing into a real gear, a person, eventually an agency, a contractor, somebody who does this for a living, right? Like somebody. And this information I give you is absolutely free. Like you don't have, so far you're on free mode. Do you agree or no? This is zero.
Right.
Every small business can afford zero, because like I said, I was a small business as well when I started. I'm still small business, but like small business. Didn't have money for marketing. And I had to figure it out. And I can encourage anybody out there to figure this thing out. It's absolutely free. Will it take some time? Absolutely. But again, as business owners, all we have is time. So you can't say, I don't have any time. Are we using our time wisely? If not, leverage somebody else's time to get this thing done for me. And once I have that, turn all that videos and texts and graphics and whatnot into blog posts on my site. This is where we're going to start. When people are searching in your area for what you do, this content is going to pop up. Does that make sense? And also, if you can get yourself personally in front of camera, that's how you build authority. And a lot of business owners are scared of camera, content, lights, mic, whatever. Gary is not scared. but a lot of people are scared. And what I'm about to tell you is that this could cost you a lot of money. Either you become the expert and you be the Heinz in your town, or you let somebody else become the Heinz. That's what's going to happen. If you're not comfortable, there's ways to create content without your face. You can do voiceover and you just explain graphics and so on. Those are not as engaging, I'll be honest with you, as people being gravitated by another human being, right? But if you can find your spouse, whoever it is, your marketing person, to do this for your brand, you'll start crushing it. I have companies that are in the tens of millions of dollars and their owner doesn't want to get on camera, or their son of the owner, or whatever. So it's not just if you're $1 million or 3 million or $500,000 that this problem exists. But all I'm saying is that these things I'm telling you, and it is absolutely free. And then secondly, when you get to a point where you can afford, you just do this at scale. That means you got content coming out every single day. Your social media graphics look more put together. It's starting to be blended in with your truck graphic and your website, and your phone numbers are, does that make sense? Coordinated. You have better call answering system. You're just going to go into this house with an iPad. Like, that's where you're going to be if you do what I'm saying, right? You don't go in with a pad and a pencil. You're going to go in with an iPad, and your truck looks like it's $5,000 wrap. We're still in the home services industry, by the way. But think about it. And your website has got like dynamic content that just, they enter their zip code and you show them prices. Like, this is what our company does. We take that idea. The only thing small in a small business could be the word small business, because government thinks we're small business. There will be nothing small about it.
Yeah, well, you'll grow in your marketplace. It really comes down to back in the early 90s, and you still hear this in the marketing terms, it's called top of mind awareness. And
That's
you're
right.
using social media, everything that's free. You're putting out educational content, being willing to do video. I would prefer you to be online too. Don't worry, it doesn't have to be perfection. They're not looking for perfection, but they're looking for you to advise them, because video now, especially on social media, is growing immensely, and they want to see that. And you're fixing, we're in the home services. If we're fixing an air conditioning, it's sitting there saying, well, here's the problem we found with this air conditioning and stuff. And guess what? Gives other people think about it. Maybe they can fix that small problem, but what do? They see you as the expert. So then when that sucker goes out and they can't fix it, who's going to get the phone call? The person that's top of mind, that's aware there. So I love that philosophy. As we move from kind of that acquisition stage, I appreciate you sharing those great concepts and stuff. Let's talk a little bit about retention before we have to wrap up, if you don't mind, and how they can think about this retention effort.
I don't even want to wrap up this episode. I think we just need to have a 7-hour episode. But the retention side is equally important, because you don't want to have a business where all you're doing is getting customers and you're losing them on the other side. Your funnel's got a hole in it. So no matter how much water you try to hold it, or how much water your bucket is, your tub or whatnot, the leaks are just taking your business apart. This is a real problem. Now, I'm going to give you the marketing person's solution to it. And while I'm a marketing guy, because that's what I went to school for and did for all my life, I'm an entrepreneur at the end of the day. I get graded by the quality of the business and the success that it does, right? Like, you can be a salesperson business, or you're a finance guy, but at the end of the day, you are graded on the entire business, not just the sales, not just the finance, not just the fulfillment, it's all of it. So the way that I would solve that problem is 2 words. You want to manage these relationships that you built, people that are answering or chatting with you or calling your business, and you want to nurture these relationships. These 2 words is extremely important. In other words, how are you keeping tabs on who bought, who didn't buy, who you lost to a competitor, who's got your email, like the email address, the phone numbers, the address of these customers? How are you managing that information? This is absolutely critical. Most companies fail in this department. It's an Excel spreadsheet at best. It's in your email. Every time somebody fills out a form on your website, is it getting stored into a database? And are you sending them this quality content that you created for your social media? Don't you think they deserve to know that as well? Nurture them. Hey, trying to, spruce up your backyard for the summer. Here's 5 tips on how you can do that, or 5 this, and obviously you're the custom kitchen outdoor kitchen designer, but you got to talk about the backyard, their life, right? Entertaining guests, throwing the party, whatever it is. This way, you're multi-purposing the content, and also you stay top of mind. Where you hit right the nail on the head is, why do they need to work with you? It's your job to let them know that you still exist. It's your job to add tremendous amount of value. This is where, like, when we create content for our customers or help our customers create content, we don't create content for the sake of creating content. We go and research what people are looking for, as I told you, in Google and all these places, and we let them create that content, because when they get that email, they're not going to unsubscribe because it was extremely valuable. They're looking forward to your content. Then, and on there, this says, go follow me on all these places. You see what I'm saying? It's like, it's not just an email for the sake of sending an email. Don't do that. Make sure your emails are really, really good, well thought out, even if it's once a month. But if you don't do that because you're so busy, which is feeding your family, taking care of your business, does that make sense? Working in the business. I'm guilty of it myself. We don't get to work on the business, which is the content part, which is nurturing our relationship, which is implementing a CRM system, which is looking at how many people are opting out. That means they don't find value in what we do. Why do they opt out? What can we do better? Looking at the engagements on our social media platforms, looking at the quality of the content, what's coming out in the pipeline. You see what I'm saying? There's a lot there that I don't expect a business owner to figure it out, which is why I said, if you want to get it done right, give it to somebody else.
Yeah. Such great information, Solomon. I really appreciate it. And so practical, to really take a look at your business. We're in that second quarter of the year, and some of us said we were going to do that at the beginning of the year. We never did. And this is one of them times to really take a hard look at your promotion side of the business and stuff. And he's kind of given us that framework about acquisition plus retention. That's kind of how you're going to get your growth. And he gave us some very simple, practical strategies. So really appreciate that. I do want people to know, if they want to check out your information, you can go online and check them out. It's oneims.com. And he's also on LinkedIn. And we'll have all that in show notes that you can go and check out his information, because I've checked out the website already. Some great information that he shares with you. If you want to reach out to him, you can contact them right there and be able to get that information. So I appreciate you sharing that. But before I let you go, Solomon, I want to ask you one question I ask every guest. What's your best advice you would give the business owners?
Absolutely. There's a saying that if you build it, they will come. And I want you to know that's what a lot of people do. And that's a myth. We spend all of our energy on the business itself, how pretty it is. It's like as if it's a theme park. But we should spend equal amount of energy on how we can get people to our theme parks, which is our business. Not just how pretty it looks. Look how great our equipment is. Our truck is spotless. Look at, that's great, because we are pleased, right? Like this is our masterpiece. You should be proud of your art. However, what's going to make you money and take care of your family and your kids and whatever you do with it, sell the business, scale it, that part is where I've been in the last 17 years. And the reason why they come to us, or any other business for that matter, is they realize that they built it and nobody came. And nobody's coming. And nobody's going to care. And this element, it literally, once you understand that, you'll be in my promotion land, which is just one of 6 P's of Gary's formula. You'll be in promotion land. You're never going to stop promoting your brand, because you're like, hey, and I'll just ask you this question. Which is the company that makes more money? Is that the company that has the best product, or the best known company?
Best known company.
Exactly. And there's so many people are creating better products every single day, and forgetting about the fact that it's still not about the product. It's about getting it. The distribution of it is the piece that you really got to work on. And of course, I don't want you to have a bad business, bad product, bad experience that's going to be all over the internet. No. You probably already have an amazing business, but you're failing in this one part. You're not failing. It's just blind spotted. You don't see it. It's not your fault. You're looking forward, thinking about the phone calls and the places to go and take care of your clients. This is a blind spot. Let somebody else cover that for you. whoever that is, even if you hired internally 20 people to do it, let them cover that. That is going to exponentially, that's my 10x framework right there. It's going to exponentially help you, not just short term, but also long term.
Well, thank you very much for sharing that. Some great information, Salim. I tell you, check out his website, oneims.com. He's on LinkedIn too, Solomon Timothy, that's on the website. All the notes are going to be in the show notes, all the links, so you can just go there and connect to them on those. But there's some great information on their website to share. And then you can tell Solomon is about educating. And he told me before he even came on, my whole goal is to just educate and share information with you. So I want to break it down. You know, we've talked about his growth formula framework and stuff, but acquisition plus retention equals growth. The thing I want you to think about is the two areas he talked about in acquisition. And you may have to go back and listen to it again, but what are you doing to capture demand? He gave you plenty of free examples of what you can go do right now to capture demand. And then what are you doing to create demand in your business? And he gave some great examples there. So that's my challenge to you. Think about your business. What do you want to do there? And then I know you know other business owners that really need some help in their promotion side. We call it marketing, yes, but in my 6 Ps, it's about promotion. So if you would share this podcast with them, because you're going to be helping them. If they're a friend or buddy, just hit the share button on your Apple phone or whatever device that you're using, and you can easily share this podcast with them. And if you like and would review the podcast, we'd appreciate that too, because that's how we keep growing, because that's how we're able to bring great guests on like Salim. Thanks again for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Listeners, go out each and every day and remember to make it your great day. And remember, you can't ascend to the top of the mountain by yourself. When you help others achieve their success, you find significance in life. Make it a great day.
Wondering how you can become better at running your business? Entrepreneurship can be stressful. There's too much to do and not enough time. If you're isolated in your daily decisions, have no fear. Success and balance are possible. Welcome to the Small Business Answer Man podcast, where you master the art of running a successful business using practical advice from experts who want to help you succeed. Now, here's your host, Gary Wilbers.